Live from somewhere you're not, it's KPBC News. With your lead anchor, Anchor Cat. Good evening, I'm Anchor Cat, and these are the stories our faceless corporate ownership said it's okay for you to know about today. Our top story: history was surely made this week. A former president was determined to be liable for sexually assaulting and defaming a woman decades ago while he still lived in New York City. When the grand jury returned their verdict, they awarded a total of $5 million to former President Donald Trump's alleged victim, author E. Jean Carroll. Joining us now is Barry Cavendish, a conservative radio host who can be heard daily on WKKK AM, to give us his thoughts on this development. Barry, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Barry, this is a pretty momentous occasion. I've been a voting American for my entire adult life, and I've voted for candidates from both parties. But I can't recall ever voting for a guy who had to pay the woman he sexually assaulted for also defaming her. Can you remember the last time you did that?
I'm having a hard time recalling, actually.
We thought you might have some difficulties with that, Barry, so we went ahead and we pulled public voting records. We can see you voted in 2020. Did you vote in 2020, Mr. Cavendish?
Yes, of course I did.
And do you happen to recall who you voted for? Was it Joe Biden?
Of course not. Perish the thought. I'd never.
So you went with a different conservative candidate. A spoiler to Trump?
No, of course not. I'm a loyal MAGA patriot.
Okay, so you voted in the last election.
Yup, of course.
And you're still not sure of the last time you voted for a sexual assault perpetrator who also had to pay his victim for defaming her? Well, we seem to have lost Mr. Cavendish somehow. We'll update you all in our next broadcast if he manages to have his memory jogged about voting for a rapey, big-mouth bully. In our next story, several Americans were either killed or wounded in gun violence this weekend. National Rifle Association spokes-terrorist Cash Kazed held a press conference this morning and briefly addressed the NRA's stance on what should be done to curtail the epidemic of gun violence that is getting people killed at outlet malls, churches, and even when they turn their car around in a stranger's driveway. Here now is a short clip of Mr. Gazette's presser.
Nothing. Nothing should be done.
But what about all the people dying?
Don't care. Next.
Okay, but what about the kids being shot in elementary schools?
Care even less, because they're not even old enough to be scared into buying guns as a knee-jerk response. Next.
We'll bring you more from Mr. Gazette's press conference this weekend. In our next story, we take you out to Fart Springs, Oregon, where one local attorney has a rather interesting client. Reporter Brock McGock is on the scene for us. Brock.
Thanks, Anchor Cat. I'm here outside the law offices of Gilbert Sullivan, an attorney who is representing a literal anus in court. Mr. Sullivan, a lot of folks might be surprised to find out that you helped an actual rectum file a lawsuit in court. Why did you do that?
Because everyone deserves their day in court, and the best representation they can find. And when I looked at the fundamentals of this case, I saw it was a slam dunk.
And what is the lawsuit about?
My client is suing Ted Cruz for identity theft. It's obvious that Ted's been acting like an asshole his entire life, but we only just now found out that he got his start by ripping off my client's entire persona and identity. We're also thinking of filing copyright infringement suits as well.
Well, as you can see, this case might be unprecedented, but from a casual observer, it seems like Mr. Sullivan's case is a good one because Senator Ted Cruz is most often found spewing shit. From Fart Springs, I'm Brock McGock. Back to you, Anchor Cat.
Thanks, Brock, and we'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Are you bored with all the pornographic content on the internet? Are you looking for something more intellectually stimulating to jerk to? Are you a fan of C-SPAN and C-SPAN 2's coverage of politics? Then you're going to love C-SPAN 69, where we have all the old C-SPAN videos you could possibly want to spank it to. Ask your cable or satellite provider if you can get C-SPAN 69 today. Deep inside every a-hole is a library of our award-winning recipes that you can take home and try to make on your own. But you won't be able to because you're an unskilled bitch, and until you rope a woman into marrying you who's willing to care for you like your mama did, you're gonna be coming inside the a-hole for every meal like the unskilled little bitch you truly are. The a-hole. Shut the fuck up and eat our goddamn food after you give us money for that food.
A lot of people wonder, after a mass shooting, why we can't just ban assault rifles at least. We're not even talking about taking away existing assault rifles, they say, just saying that they wouldn't be sold at stores any longer. And I have to say, as a Second Amendment enthusiast, it makes me angry and sad to keep having these conversations. The bottom line is that yes, kids keep getting shot at schools and everyday Americans keep getting shot while doing everyday American stuff, but I prefer dangerous freedom to quiet slavery. Or to put it another way, I'd rather there be dead elementary school kids than not be able to buy a third pew-pew machine, which of course makes me both smart and patriotic. So there's really nothing else for me to say except checkmate. Welcome back. This morning, while appearing on Fox News, Republican Congressman Tom Toppelson batted away a very specific criticism leveled at him by the Democrat vying for his seat in the next election. Here now is a clip from that interview.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. It's just patently absurd that my potential opponent would claim that since I have no idea how to bring a woman's body intense physical pleasure, that I can't write laws about them. If she just would have taken the time to speak to my wife, she would have found out I've never made her come, and yet every time I tell her what to do, she doesn't bat an eyelash. You know, it's not my fault that my Bible school teachings taught me the truth about female orgasms. They're a hoax. And worse, a sin if you commit them.
We'll talk to our political roundtable this weekend about Toppelson's comments. Up next is Austin Sleet with this weekend's weather report. Austin, how are things looking?
Well, Anchor Cat, it's shaping up to be quite a beautiful weekend in every city across the country except one single small town in Arizona.
Oh, which city?
The town of Holy Cross, Arizona, actually.
And scientifically speaking, why is it that the only city in America where the weather won't be good this weekend?
Because that's the town where my ex-wife just moved with her new boyfriend, and I had a witch put a hex on the entire city.
Well, that makes total sense to me. Thanks, Austin, and we'll be right back.
Every day I get at least 2 or 3 parents who come into my office, sit down, and tell me they are done with their kids. They say they're sick and tired of the fights, the tantrums, and the talking back. They're at their wits' end, but they don't know what to do. That's when I tell them they're lucky they came into my office because I can help fix their problems with their kids better than any so-called therapist could. Hi, I'm Lenny Limabean, the Academy Award-aware casting director of such B films as Atom Girl and the Fissile Missile and Farts the Musical, and I can help you with your kids. Just recast them. Seriously, if it works for all of Hollywood's biggest movies, it'll work for you and your family. Plus, I work with only the best talent I can possibly find, so I'm sure I can get you the right kid at the right price to fit your production budget. So call or fax us today at 188-KIDCAST and find out if Lenny Limabean can help you recast your kid.
Oh, look at this truck. We bet you didn't even know trucks could be this amazing, did you? You probably want a truck, don't you? Why don't you want to this truck? Come on, quit lying. You want to this truck. Guess what? It's truck and sale-a-thon time at your local Amerimotors dealer. So get in there soon and test drive this beauty before you take it out and penetrate it. Amerimotors, the most f***able American car brand 6 years running, according to DJ Power and Friends.
In our next story, we take you to Alabama. Republicans there are trying to pass legislation that would grant full citizenship to what they're calling spermatozoan Americans. Reporter Chort Bortelson has the story for us. Chorty?
Hi, Anchor Cat. I am here in Alabama, and I just spoke to Alabama Republican and pastor Todd Tittersby about why he and his fellow Republicans are pushing so hard to grant citizenship to everyone in the state they call nearly fully formed Alabamians.
Praise his name and hallelujah, Chort. All we want to do here in Alabama is make sure that we're leading the nation in pointless religious extremist theater. I mean, you know, it's what the people want. And more importantly, it's what God would want. I think so anyway. He ain't talked to me for a few years since I started wearing that red hat in public and, we got to mega church status, but...
Anchor Cat Mr. Tittersby rambled on incoherently like that for a good 10 minutes. So we're going to spare the viewers at home the trauma of enduring what my amazing production team and I had to endure. We will, however, show you this comment the Reverend made.
The point is that if this pointless religious dog and pony show with a slice of American Al-Qaeda on the side serves the dual purpose of also subjugating women, well, heck, that's just a win-win in my book. Which is a pretty good book, by the way. Almost up there with the Bible. Maybe better than the Bible, because there's a lot less woke crap in it, I'll tell you what. Ooh, I got a few copies in my trunk if you want to buy a couple. Give you a good price.
From the American dystopia of Alabama, this is Chort Bartleson. Back to you, Anchor Cat.
We'd like to give you a brief update to a story from last night's broadcast. Apparently, the 28-year-old Texan man who is charged with millions of counts of man-goose slaughter for finishing on his fiance's stomach will be allowed out on bail after all. However, the judge in the case has ordered that Mr. Stevens be fitted with an ankle and testicular monitor pending his trial. set to begin later this fall. President Joe Biden continued a blistering socialist assault of fiscally moderate economic policies and oversaw another good month of unemployment and GDP growth numbers. We'll talk to a Republican economist who will tell us why this is a sign that the Antichrist walks amongst us and why we are only a day away from full-blown communism. Don't miss it this weekend during our Wall Street Power Hour. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
On the next episode of Two Stoned Birds.
I bet that gets me high.
Recently, a man with Nazi tattoos and a social media presence full of white supremacist postings murdered 8 people at a shopping mall. The killer's own words describe himself as being aligned with far-right extremist media figures like domestic terrorist lib stalkers of TikTok and Dim Tool, libs of TikTok and Tim Pool, and contained references to their rhetoric, clearly inspired by their words to commit unspeakable acts of violence. With us now is media reporter Gil Fishman to tell us what Fox News, OANN, and Newsmax said about the shooter, his white supremacy, and the fact that he was inspired to do his killing by some of the same people their networks regularly feature. Gil?
Anchor Cat, thanks for having me on as always.
No problem, Gil. So tell us, what did Fox News, Newsmax, and OANN viewers learn about the Allen, Texas murderer and his ties to white supremacy and being inspired by people they have on their shows?
They heard that Joe Biden's son's laptop contains dick pics, Anchor Cat.
No, I mean about this story.
Right. What they heard about this story is that Hunter Biden has some dick pics on his laptop.
Well, thanks for the update anyway, Gil. Turning now to New York City, the judge in Donald Trump's criminal tax avoidance case issued a gag order, forbidding the one-term, twice permanently impeached, daughter-lusting ex-president from speaking about the case or publicizing any evidence. On Truth Social, Trump blasted the judge's order and called it unconstitutional. With us now is legal beat reporter Larry McTerry. Larry, what do you think of Trump's argument? Is he a victim of unconstitutional behavior by the judge here?
As far as I know, you actually can't make a legal argument that something is unconstitutional if you can't prove in a court of law that you're literate or have read the Constitution to begin with. However, there could be an exception to this rule if, say, you're a giant, orange, balding, daughter-lusting, recently found to be liable for sexual assault, former president, proto-fascist. So let me do some research on that, and I will get right back to you.
We'll have you back on as soon as you have that updated information for us, Larry. Thanks for coming on. We'll have you back on as soon as you have that updated information for us, Larry. Thanks for coming on. In our next story, we take you out to Swillycorn Valley, California. Billionaire pretend inventor Elon Musk held a press conference at Twitter's corporate headquarters there this morning, and our tech reporter Bill Williams was there to cover it for us. Bill, what was Musk up to today?
Hi, Anchor Cat. Today I watched as Elon Musk announced that Twitter was going to make yet another change to its verification system. Viewers at home may recall that last month Musk had Twitter change how and why Twitter assigned blue checkmark verified labels to various accounts. The results of the policy change left thousands of verified public figures having their blue checks removed, while small accounts with obviously racist, sexist, and trans or homophobic names and content were elevated to verified statuses. This morning, Musk said that he was once more going to give the old legacy verified their checkmark back, but with a major change. The new checkmark will be red, and Musk said that it will allow users to be able to tell which accounts made him personally sad by not signing up to keep their blue checkmark with a monthly fee for Twitter Blue, Twitter's paid verification service. Musk also said he's toying with the idea of making users pay a monthly fee for the right to keep his account blocked from their feeds, as well as a discount for alt-right trolls who personally buff out the wrinkles in Musk's taint. Business analysts are telling us they're not sure this development will have any impact on Twitter's cratered stock value. However, they did note that it seems to be on brand with Musk's self-exploding Tesla vehicles and SpaceX rockets. From Swillycorn Valley, this is Bill Williams. Back to you in the studio, Anchor Cat.
Thanks, Bill. We'll catch up with you more this weekend on our Business Roundtable show, and we'll be right back.
Now this is exciting. It's item SW1911. It's some type of a vintage hairy spaceman. It's an action figure. You can tell by the size because it's an action focused character. Now, usually this goes for $49.99.
Well, what I know for certain is I ain't setting foot inside a Disney park until they cut all that groomer crap out.
Oh, damn. I didn't know Disney was grooming.
Oh, yeah? It's been all over the news.
Which news? ABC, CBS, NBC?
Hell nah. Newsmax and the back of KKK pamphlets are the only two outlets I trust. You know that.
All right. I forgot about your lobotomy back in 2002.
Right.
So anyway, yeah. Disney's grooming kids? What are they doing? Forcing them to say the Pledge of Allegiance to a Magic Freedom Brag?
Nah.
Forcing them to pray to an invisible skyman every night? Dragging them to Sunday school every week? And teaching them to be judgmental hypocrites who scold others while they do far worse?
If they was doing that, I'd be an annual pass holder, wouldn't I?
So what are they doing to groom kids then?
They're making TV shows where queer people exist and aren't ridiculed or told to go back in the closet.
So Disney's grooming kids to be nice, considerate people who don't judge people.
Exactly. Cultural Marxism at its worst.
I can see where Christians would be upset about that.
Thank you.
Because it sounds like Disney's doing a better job of instilling Jesus' values in kids than Christians are.
You son of a bitch! How dare you! If Jesus were here right now, he'd kick your ass.
Hi, it's me, Jesus, from the Bible, not the megachurch up the street. And Ken, I wouldn't be too sure of that if I were you. Here, do me a favor, Ken, read this. I think it would be a real big help. Ah, shoot, I forgot. Let me get you some adult literacy materials, and then you can read this.
Disney announced today that they are firing Kathleen Kennedy and will immediately delete all of the Star Wars sequels they bankrolled from existence. Next, Disney plans to hire Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh to rewrite the trilogy without any woke themes, and only white male characters will be featured. Oh, I apologize. I'm getting word from our producers that the AI writer bot we've been using accidentally got temporarily reprogrammed with a new algorithm designed to write false news stories specifically designed to make incels happy. Apparently, our AI bot's programming got mixed up with the one from Fox News. We apologize for any confusion this may have caused. Up next, the Drug Enforcement Agency has released the following list of terrible things that can happen to you if you use cannabis. 100% of people who have ever smoked pot have eventually died. Smoking pot regularly reduces the amount of revenue alcohol producers can make off you. 25 years after smoking your first joint, it is a scientific certainty you will have aged a whole quarter century. We will update this list as the DEA does. And that's going to do it for tonight's broadcast. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good night, everybody.
Johnson! Before we get in this limo here and take our corporate lunch where we get to drink 8 $30 martinis apiece, wash those down with two $200 entrees each, and then stumble the fuck back here to pretend to work while the slovenly, sober underling masses actually do the real work, where are we at with my bonus this quarter?
Yes, sir. I was just going to tell you in the limo on the way over to the restaurant that you'll easily meet your metrics this quarter, and your bonus will be 12% higher than it was the previous quarter.
Well, thank God for all that inflation. Otherwise, I don't think our widget revenues would be anywhere near high enough for me to get a bonus this quarter.
That's right, sir. Praise God for inflation.
That reminds me, where are we at with setting up those tents in the parking lot, Johnson?
The ones we want our hourly workers to sleep in for less than 6 hours a night between their shifts. They'll be erected by the end of day, sir.
Perfect, Johnson. Let's go get drunk. Those executive decisions won't be pretended to be made themselves. Booyah! Capitalism.
I know that I have literally no other choice because the other side is doing full-blown religious theocratic fascism now. So that's why I vote for Democrats.
Of course, Biden isn't in charge of the world's economy and inflation is a global crisis, but I'm what scientists have identified as an ignorant and arrogant asshole moron, and so I'm going to just pretend like my feelings are facts.